So maybe you might not know, there is something deeply psychological about working with clay. On the surface, pottery may look like purely physical activity, mixing clay, shaping forms, trimming, glazing, firing. But anyone who spends enough time in the studio begins to realize that clay responds to more than just technique. In many ways, it responds to the state of the person working with it. One of the first things clay teaches is awareness. When you sit at the wheel, your mind cannot be scattered for long. If you are distracted, impatient, frustrated, or tense, it often shows immediately in the work you are actually making. The clay may wobble, collapse, or resist your control. But when your breathing slows and your focus becomes steady, the clay responds even more differently. The process becomes smoother, more balanced, and more controlled. This connection between emotional state and physical outcome is part of what makes pottery psychologically powerful. Working with clay also encourages mindfulness. The repetitive movements involved in wedging, centering, pulling, and trimming naturally brings attention into the present moment. Your hands begin focusing on texture, pressure, moisture, and movement rather than outside distractions. For many people, this creates a calming mental effect. The studio becomes a space where the noise of daily life temporarily fades, replaced by concentration and quiet observation. There is also an important emotional lesson hidden within pottery: acceptance of imperfection. In ceramics, not every piece survives. Some crack during drying, others warp in the kiln or collapse on the wheel. And funny enough, even skilled potters experience failure regularly. Over time, working with clay teaches resilience. You begin understanding that mistakes are not signs of inability, but naturally parts of process and growth. Psychologically, clay also teaches patience in a world that constantly demands immediate results. Pottery cannot truly be rushed. Every stage requires waiting. Waiting for clay to dry, waiting for firings, waiting for glaze to mature properly. This gradual process conditions the mind to respect timing rather than constantly forcing outcomes. It develops tolerance for delayed results and appreciates steady progress. Another fascinating aspect of working with clay is the sense of control and release it provides at the same time. The artist guides the clay, shapes it, and influences the outcome. Yet, clay still behaves according to its own physical nature. There is always an element of unpredictability involved with when working with clay. Learning to work with that balance helps potters become more adaptable, flexible, and emotionally grounded. Over time, the studio often becomes more than just a workspace. For many ceramic artists, it becomes a place of reflection. The repetitive rhythm of the wheel, the tactile connection with the material, and the quiet focus required during making creates an environment that supports emotional processing and mental clarity. Some people even describe pottery as it being therapeutic, not because it removes problems, but because it slows the mind enough to breathe through them. This is why the psychology of working with clay runs deeper than simply creating objects. Pottery trains more emotional awareness, patience, focus, resilience, and mindfulness all at once. The clay begins as a material in your hands, but somewhere in the process, it also begins shaping the mind working behind it.